But I do want to go back to the governor for a moment, Alex, because you talked to him about how he engages with right-wing media, which is quite a masterclass, if you will, really going into the heart of conservative media, Fox News, debating Ron DeSantis. If I would argue effectively knocking him out of the race for anybody who was watching that live debate. But what did he have to say to you about that and his decision to do that?
Yeah, I mean, he is a singular figure in the Democratic world, not just because he'll go on Fox, but he seems to relish the pugilism, if you will. And I sort of asked him about whether that was the net, to what effect all of that. This is what he had to say. Do you feel like you're making a difference when you go on Fox News?
I don't know. My father-in-law
decidedly less bullish.
He's like, oh, you're on.
Your father-in-law is noticing.
Republican. I mean,
the family dinners are, yeah, okay.
No, I mean, because I'm not saying
that
no
critically.
Animus. Everybody wants to be loved, needs to be loved, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this fundamental notion, man, we're just all human beings.
Yeah.
And I have love and respect for people I disagree with. I don't want to talk down or past anybody. Quite the contrary. And I want them to know I'm listening as well. And I am listening to Fox. I do listen.
Yeah.
And it's hard. I mean, it is hard. It's demoralizing sometimes too. But the misinformation, disinformation is next level. And I figured, okay, you could just be in denial about that or accept it and just say, well, that's not the world I live in. Well, there's no leak on your side of our boat. We're all in this together.
Yeah.
And we have to cross-pollinate, and we have to define the term. Divorce is not an option. Sorry, Margie Taylor Greene, whoever said that.
Yeah.
It's not an option. We can't afford that. So getting on those platforms, showing, to the extent I can, respect by showing up, and then asserting myself, because I do think we have to disabuse ourselves, that we can just intellectually win by stating all these facts, goes back to the beginning of this conversation, and statistics. We've got to get into the zeitgeist of how people are feeling, and we've got to push back. We've got to get into that bloodstream.
Do you think President Biden should do Fox interviews?
I wonder now if I should do any more after the last few appearances. So I'll leave that to President Biden.
I was surprised at how honest he was, right? Like, it can't be that fun to go into the lion's den like that, right? But he understands the fundamental utility of not ignoring a sizable portion of the American electorate. It sort of sounds Sisyphean. But I guess, I mean, look, I kind of understand where he's coming from insofar as, like, someone has to do it. He clearly doesn't think President Biden is necessarily the person to do it. But I don't know, Jen, what you think, whether this is something that Democrats need to do more of.
I think he's right to question the utility of it in terms of moving Fox viewers to the Democratic side. I think what's valuable, it's the kind of thing that Democrats like to watch. You know, we like to watch it because Gavin Newsom is so effective and deconstructing their argument and showing the flaws in it. And he fights back, and it is good for Democrats to fight back. And I think it's invigorating for Democrats to see a Democrat fight back on Fox News. Whether you are convincing Fox viewers of whether he's actually moving their viewers, I don't know. I would be really interested to have, to see a focus group that did that, because my concern is that they just are so much in a different ecosystem that he's not breaking through in the way that you would and that you would like. But it is. I mean, I think it is. There are people who watch Fox News who can be persuaded, and it is a big audience, and I am a fan of people going on it, including the president. You just have to be careful about what you do, because they orchestrate it so that they can use whatever you say to produce misleading shows for the next 5 days. So it's tricky.